Hi everyone, and welcome to this presentation. I'm going to talk about how AI is redefining SRE and customer experience. And this talk isn't about replacing SREs or changing the next AI hype cycle. It's about how reliability work is changing and why customer experience is now tightly connected to how we run production. Everything I'll share today comes from being on call and running real production systems and building no fire while watching AI dramatically increase the pace of a change. And lastly, these presentations, I'm pretty sure that is going to be totally different in a year from now. I spent over a decade building and operating production systems that changed faster than their documentation. I've been the person that people DM at 3 a.m. because you know how this really works when you're on call. And that experience led me here not because tooling was bad, but because context kept disappearing. So let's start with reality, not with just an architecture diagram we were through. Let's see the world engineers actually live in today. And this is not a critique, it's a recognition. Most of our work doesn't happen in clean abstractions. It happens in exceptions, edge cases, and half-known systems. And that reality has shifted dramatically in the last 2 years. This used to be hard. It's not something new. I think now it's something totally different, especially with all this AI generated code and vibe coding. We ship faster than ever, so the production changes constantly. And reliability didn't get harder because teams got worse. It got harder because teams grow, system now change faster than the humans can really build a stable mental model. It's not that AI created this, right? It just accelerated this because right now, as I mentioned, we ship faster than ever. And when the systems outpace understanding, the first thing that breaks isn't only the uptime, it's also the clarity. If you see this diagram, this is what a production actually looks like today and most of the years in the past. At the bottom, we have a couple of services and systems, which is mostly our production environment, code, infrastructure, telemetry, tools, knowledge, different kinds of various places. On top of this, there is a couple of workflows like releases, incidents, security, cost, and we have also the teams, each of them owning a piece of a slice, but none owning the whole, right? Nobody understands the full production system. So no single person really sees and understands all this at once. Every incident cut across boundaries that were designed to work together, and each handoff loses context. This is where most reliability pain actually lives between owners' lives. Not in one service, not in one dashboard, in the gaps. And it's obvious that we don't lack data, we don't lack tools if you see the diagram. We lack a common and a shared understanding and meaning of how these changes turned into outcomes. The systems are connected, the teams are divided, and production lives somewhere in between. And when engineers struggle to navigate this, customers feel this immediately. Engineers struggle, and because of that, incidents take hours or days. Customers wait and start wondering if they can really rely on us for next time. It impacts revenue and our reputation. Customer report these issues first, right? We learn something is broken from a support ticket, not from our systems or tooling. Engineers become single points of failure. A few people carry the full knowledge of a production environment. They burn out or they leave. And not only when they leave, they get this knowledge together, right? So lots of people, they have no idea what's happening. Customer experience is no longer separate from reliability. What customers feel is the external result of an internal confusion. And the problem isn't that engineers don't care, is that systems don't really remember even when people do. Every investigation starts from zero because context doesn't survive change, which leads to the fixes we've all tried, right? More processes, more tooling and others. We will discuss this. So we try to fix that, right? And we're trying to do the obvious things. The first instinct is visibility. So what we do, we add more dashboards, more metrics, more alerts. But the visibility without structure just increases the mental load. We didn't reduce uncertainty, we multiplied. So we moved from more data to smarter looking data. And we taught systems, because of this, to find patterns, right? But patterns without the real cause don't tell you what changed. Correlation helps you react fast, right? That's a correlation trap. It doesn't help you understand why this incident happened this time. And when that still didn't work, we did another trap, right? It's what I call the tooling trap. We added more tools. Every new problem got a new tool or a new workflow or a new process or a new policy. So now we have also AI tools. We have more AI tools to do a couple of other things. And each tool solved a slice, but added handoffs, ownership gaps, and context loss. The system became operable, but not understandable. So the question isn't how do we react faster? It's how we keep up in a constant change of a production, which is happening in a tremendous speed at this moment and today. AI didn't just help us to do the same work faster, right? So things has changed for many ways. It changed what system can do at all, right? Until recently, systems mostly emitted raw signals. Numbers of logs, traces, commits, deployments. There's a lot of fragments here, right? With modern AI, there's a shift. Understanding doesn't have to be reconstructed later, right? It can exist earlier, it can be persist, right? Close to where the production is actually operating. So this is a move from raw signals to shared meaning, from isolated metrics to system awareness, and from reconstruction after the fact to recognition in the moment. It changed where and how understanding lives, in what form. And once understanding moves closer to the production and to your systems, it completely changes how we respond. For years, the main question we've asked during incidents is simple: what broke? Is it this service? Is it a node? What is it? That question assumes failures is the starting point. But when you can track systems over time, you can ask a better question, not just what broke, but what changed and what did that change affect. This is the difference between reacting symptoms and understanding cause. To do that, we need to follow systems the way they actually evolve, right? How your production is operating consistently and continuously. So production doesn't fail in isolation. Production is changing, there's configs, code, service dependencies, new infrastructure, traffic changes, and those changes can rip. So the view you see here is how connects these three things continuously, from what changed, where it landed, what is the current state of the behavior. So instead of treating every incident as a one-off, the system keeps a running understanding. Every incident adds knowledge instead of wiping the slate clean, and that matters a lot before something breaks, right? So there is a persistent understanding across time. And if a system continuously understands what changed, where it landed, and how behavior shifted, the reliability doesn't start at the alert. It starts before the incident even exists, right? The reliability decisions happen before anything breaks while I'm coding. So history stops being something we look back on, or we just have a few people, right? It becomes something you use to decide what to do next. This isn't about predicting the future perfectly. It's about not being blind to risk we've already seen before. And this is foresight grounded in how production actually behaves over time. And once you have that, reliability moves to a very different place. This is reliability embedded directly into the workflow of how we work every day. Before code ships, the system already understands what changed, what depends on it, what is going to change, and what's already unstable. So engineers don't need to remember everything. The system brings the context to them, and automatically a deployment impact happens and triggers a deployment impact analysis on every PR. Because incidents don't begin at deploy time, they definitely don't begin at the alert time. So you have reliability not after users feel the pain. And this isn't just incident data, it's how the service normally behaves. It's how often it changes, what actually goes wrong after those changes. It's like a validation based on the change we're gonna apply, and that history is always there, even when the team changes. And once you have that memory, reliability stops being a moment in time. And reliability traditionally used to live in bursts, right? We were deploying, there was an incident, we had a post-mortem, we had tasks after that. We have already forgotten after a few months what happened. But now, with all these context graphs and the advancements of AI, you can spot risky changes when you code. So you can understand the impact of a change early on when you really actually doing coding in your IDE. Find the real cause when there is an incident. And now it starts becoming also a continuous loop, right? Every change, every incident, every outcome adds to understanding as a continuous feedback loop. And this is where we call this a full context embedded SRE. And this is where the things are moving the next couple of years. Everything I described so far might sound familiar to most of you. And all of us try better dashboards, better alerts, better runbooks. So what's actually different this time? The system right now can track changes. And this change, as I mentioned, can have a shared meaning, can represent a system awareness, can also not only present a system awareness, but also reconstruct it later from the context you have already captured. And these are not snapshots on not point in time metrics, but how code, config, dependencies, deployments, signals, telemetry evolve through the time. Second, right now we can connect these to a cause and effect relationships. So not just these things move together, but this change led to that outcome. And third, as we discussed earlier, we can keep learning between different kinds of incidents, between different kinds of architectural documents, between our collaboration in different kinds of places, how we work in communication platforms. So there's no reset button after a postmortem now. What the system learns sticks. There's no heroics, no starting from 0 at 3 a.m., there's no reset button. And when systems stop forgetting, the impact isn't just internal. For customers, this shows up in various ways, right? Fewer surprises because right now, so there's a lot of benefits, right? There is a fewer surprises to the customer because risky changes are caught earlier, faster recovery right now because engineers aren't guessing, they are acting in a full context and in a behavior over time, more confidence and more predictable changes and releases and deployments because reliability isn't lack anymore. It's informed decision making. And where reliability improves, right, customer experience follows. And not as a downstream metric, right, but as a direct result and impact to our business. And that shift also changes what it means to be an engineer anymore with all these advancements of AI. And this is where the human impact really shows up, right? Engineers right now stop chasing symptoms and start shaping outcomes because they stop playing whack-a-mole with alerts. Instead, they start shaping outcomes, as I mentioned, deciding when to ship, deciding when to wait, deciding how risk should be managed before users feel it. And the system can carry this memory. So engineers can focus on adjustment, not just recall. And this leads to a very different future for SRE and for everyone in the industry and for observability in general. For a long time, we've optimized SRE for speed, faster detection, faster response, faster root cause analysis. But speed alone doesn't reduce risk, right? Understanding does. The future of SRE isn't just faster reaction, it's better decision much more earlier in the process. Before we deploy, before there is an escalation, before customers feel the pain. And that's the shift we are building toward. I leave you with this idea. Reliability doesn't live in alerts, that's for sure. It lives in understanding how production changes over time. And when systems, especially with AI, remember, teams move faster with less fear, and customers really feel the difference. Thank you.